Welcome to the Field of 68 After Dark's YouTube channel. We are going to be live every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time right here on YouTube and on Stadium for the entirety of the spring. Edey is the interesting one, though, and I kind of want to dive into this because I think that it is objectively fantastic for the sport of college basketball. Like we like covering the draft. I love the NBA playoffs. I know you're a big NBA guy too. But this is a college basketball show, and I think it is objectively great for the sport of college basketball that a guy that was, I think you could make the argument, the best player that we have seen at minimum since Tyler Hansbrough. You could probably make an argument since Jalen Brunson, right? But among a handful of the best players that we've seen in this century, right? In the 2000s, back-to-back National Player of the Year, made it to the national title game, and was able to be a top 10 pick. Because if this was something where he slid, and let's just say that Zach Edey went through the Kyle Filipowski experience right now, right? Yeah. I don't think that looks good for the sport. I think that is a bad thing if you can't have guys that have that level of success in college translate to the league. I love that the Grizzlies took a shot on him. I am trying to figure out how they will be able to use him with Ja Morant, who wants to get up and down the floor. But I think that he is Edey, that is a bigger, stronger, and potentially better version of Steven Adams, right? Version of Jonas Valanciunas, who we've seen have success there. And I think I'm very intrigued to see what happens. I said this on our scouting profile, and I'll let you kind of get into this next minute, but he is a guy that is similar to Zion Williamson and Chet Holmgren to me, in the sense that part of the reasons we doubted him was because we've never seen somebody with that body type in the modern NBA have a level of success that we expected, right? Zion, it was more coming from high school to college, and it was college in the NBA. Chet, it was after what he did in college. Can somebody that skinny be effective at the NBA? Well, yeah, he can. With Zion, it's like, can somebody who is like a 6'6" bowling ball of a 4-man be successful in college as he was playing local high school basketball in South Carolina? Well, yeah, he can. Can Zach Edey, a guy who is that big and that physical and that in shape and that athletic for somebody that is 7'5", 300 pounds, can he have that level of success in college and translate to the NBA? Maybe he can. Outliers are outliers for a reason. So I think it's a great thing for the sport overall that Edey was picked where he was. And I can tell you this, I will be rooting as hard for Zach Edey as anybody that does not wear, like, I got my Paint Crew shirt on right now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was cool to see him not go to the green room and celebrate with his family last night. Zach's story is awesome again, and we forget this is a kid who still only played organized basketball for about 7 years, so there's still a lot of growth there. I think again he allows you to play Jaren Jackson Jr. at the 4, which is where he should be. So the fit works for me with Ja Morant, with Jaren Jackson Jr. The fit doesn't work for me nearly as much in Portland, with a lot of those guards that are more about scoring. And then you have Ayton, you have Robert Williams, who is always hurt, so you can't rely on him anyway. But I'm more worried about Donovan Clingan being able to break through and play a bigger role in the NBA than I am about Zach Edey, to be honest. I don't know if that's crazy, and part of it is the last memory I have of Edey and Clingan was honestly Edey taking it to Donovan Clingan on both ends of the court in the national title game. I just think Edey's far more advanced right now on both ends than Clingan is. Clingan's awesome defensively. He's got a long way to go on the offensive end. So I'm happy for both. They're both great kids. You remember what Edey told me right before after they won the national semifinal game? And he wasn't very happy with me at the end of the year because I was questioning whether or not he could play a huge role in the NBA. I felt like, he might be a backup. And he goes right up to me, and they won the game. They won the national semifinals. And I'm ready to interview him. And he says, you still think I can't play in the NBA? I'm like, I never said you can't play. I just worry about your role. And I think he's going to get every opportunity now, Rob, to prove myself and other people wrong, because I think he's going to get a chance to play extended minutes. And you know what? His conditioning says that he's going to be able to. The question is can Taylor Jenkins figure out, how to keep him on the court and not be a liability, I think, in terms of getting up and down and on the defensive end.
To me, it's less about being a liability during the regular season than it is being a liability when you get to the playoffs, right? Like we see someone who, like a Rudy Gobert, right? We see the issues that he has staying on the floor at the NBA level, and he's an all defense guy. So like, I get it. It's not, if Zach Edey was a sure thing defensively, he wouldn't have dropped to number 9, and he wouldn't have been mocked as like a guy that was in the late lottery, mid first round, right? So there's always going to be question marks when you are that big, because we haven't seen it happen. I'm willing to bet on the outliers. I'll be rooting for him. Before we get to a break, I just want to add, like you mentioned the draft party that he had. If people want to understand why Matt Painter's been able to develop Purdue into a program that has had this level of success in college, and why they are consistently able to perform better than the sum of their parts, right? All you have to do is go back and look at the videos from last night. Zach Edey turned down an invite to New York City in the green room to go to, I believe that was Painter's backyard, and hang out with his former team.
I didn't know. Yeah. Is that where it was?
I think it was. I don't know that for a fact. I think it was. I don't know. Somebody's backyard. Somebody in West Lafayette hosted a party for him. Zach Edey came back instead of going to the green room. All of his teammates were there. Mason Gillis flew back from Durham, North Carolina to go to West Lafayette to hang out with the guys he just transferred away from. If you want to understand why Purdue is Purdue right now, and why you always just want to bet on Matt Painter and those teams, like, that's all you got to see. Did you see how happy those dudes were for him? Did you see how happy Mason Gillis was? Did you see how welcoming they were to bring Mason Gillis back? Because he never made it about
himself.
Yes.
For 2 years, Zach Edey never once made it about himself. That was the beauty about him as his ascension, because it did. It came out of nowhere, right? I mean, for the most part, we remember when he was, playing behind Trevion Williams a few years ago, and he never complained then, right? Most guys would have complained because he was kicking Trevion Williams' ass in practice every day that year, and he never complained once. So Zach Edey, the teammate, elite. It is a great story. It's a great story that I hope was really told, and told the right way on ESPN last night, because the kid's done everything he could to, again, conduct himself the right way, be a great teammate, get better, like all the things you want for a player. And, oh, by the way, like, this isn't a guy who tried to milk Purdue for every dollar NIL-wise either.
Yes. He's everything that you want college basketball to be about. And I know, look, I understand why there were some people that pushed back against the Zach Edey storyline last season. If I was a Big Ten fan and I saw my team routinely getting their ass kicked by him, Trevor, I think that that's something that I would have been, I'm happy to see him go. But like, from a big picture thing, man, he's a great thing for college basketball. He's a great story, and he is what we want to root for. At least me, the way I'm
By the
watching.
way, it was at Painter's house. It was at Painter's
house. Whose house was it? It was
Matt Painter's house. Yeah, Matt Painter.
Thanks for watching the Field of 68 After Dark. Make sure to hit that like button.